Welcome to Retro Scale Modelling. This is part 12 of the DeAgostini Star Wars Millennium Falcon build. Scale is approximately 172. In the previous build, I was prepping the frame and putting some of the frame together, as well as some of the thrust plating also. In part 12, I'm going to be putting the last part of the frame together. Not ready to attach it yet, but putting the last finishing touches to the last piece of the frame and preparing that for the next stage. I'll also be looking at the loading ramp on this part 12 of the build as well. Now, as before on the other videos, I've cut out quite a large chunk of the frame building process. Again, just to reiterate, that this is because it's very repetitive, as in you would have seen the frame going together in the other videos, and it's the exact same process, although some of these shapes may be slightly different. So if you're wondering what's happened to it, that's why. So feel free to check out the other videos if you haven't done so. If you're just jumping into this now, I would suggest going back and having a look at how the frame was put together. But anyway, let's jump into this and see how we go on. So starting off with issue 35, and issue 35 is more framework, but this time it's the actual last piece of the bottom frame. So as you can see here is a slightly different shape, but it is made up exactly the same way as every other part of the frame. So using the ribs to connect each segment together and put it all together, and so I'm just tightening up the screws ready for the next part of this sequence. I'm going into issue 36. You can see here is the other section to this final part, and once again the same process is to align it all and fit it together. And on to issue 37. And issue 37, I'll be doing a little bit more of the framework, but mostly I shall be working on the landing ramp or access ramp. So first of all, there's a couple of little strips I have to put on, each one to each side. Then there's another part that goes on here. It's more just a molded part. I'm not going to be painting these just yet. I'm not exactly sure how much I want to weather these out, so I won't be doing this particular paint until near the end of the build. So I'm just placing on all the outer molding parts now. Then I'll be painting it later on, or if indeed I may not paint it. It depends how I feel near the end of the build. And the last thing I go on in this section is a little bracket right at the front. And then it's back to the last part of the framework. Now these little hinges about two-way brackets I'm putting in, I didn't know at the time, but I actually put these in the wrong position. I made this up like everything else, how the brackets are, but on this particular occasion these two little connecting brackets actually go on the other side. Now I didn't notice this until later on in the build, but it was simple enough to take them off and put them in the proper way around. Moving on to issue 38, and in issue 38 I'll be mostly concentrating on the ramp once more. So first of all, we're assembling the tailgate part of the ramp. Now this comes in two little sections with a hollow bit at the tip so the hinge can fit inside. Now the little knob of plastic this sits into is very small, and it's quite difficult to get to line up. And in the course of the build, one of them broke off, so I haven't made my mind up whether to have it in a fixed position or try and repair it so that it will have movement. I haven't made up my mind yet, but as it stands at the moment, everything is okay. The inner part of the ramp I'm painting in 99 aluminium by Revel Aquacolor. There's two parts that go on the sides here. These are mostly connecting parts to line up with the hull. The main hinge to this is metal, which has to be constructed. First of all, I'm placing on the side two arms or levers. These were quite tricky to do. I had a bit of a problem trying to line them up and get the screws to fit. But once I got them to fit on one part, I then had to place them onto the main part, the main unit, and repeated the same process. It was important not to over tighten the screws because I needed this free movement. To attach the ramp, I had to line it up with the outer housing, and it's pretty important that I line it up 100% so it's not squiff. Also, you want a free action for it to open and close. And then the bracket just gets pushed on. There's 8 little location points for this to fit in, and the initial push on should be enough just to hold it, and then once that's in, I can screw it into position. But again, I didn't want to exert too much pressure when doing this. There's in danger warping the plastic if I put too much weight onto it. So I'm having to be quite careful attaching this bracket. But once it was on, I was able to test the fit and see how it was going. As you can see there, it's moving up and down quite freely. I painted the bracket in Tamiya's XI55 Deck Tan. Now, to be honest with you, this wasn't really necessary, but I just wanted it to have a matching colour, just in case any of it was showing. And for the last part of this video, I'm just adding a LED strip light here, putting it through the frame into position. Now, these LEDs do have their own sticky back to them, but I've learned through experience that it's better to use a little bit of cement just to hold them down, because the sticky on the strip doesn't last long. So as I said, I'll bring this video to an end now. If you haven't done so already, why don't you check out my channel for my other builds? If you hit the notification button and hit the bell, you'll be notified of all my upcoming builds, including for this one of course. Hit that like button, leave a comment, and of course, don't forget to share the video. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.